Something important is happening in the sky as we move toward August 27th, 2026. And this time, the message is not simply about emotions, relationships, or the lunar eclipse. This is about something much more practical: your decisions, your communication, your career, your money, and the choices you make when an opportunity suddenly appears in front of you. On August 27th, Mercury reaches a major conjunction with the Sun, creating what astrologers interpret as a powerful reset point for the way we think, communicate, negotiate, and make decisions. And what makes this period even more interesting is that the days around August 26th and 27th are also being associated with Ravi Yoga in Vedic astrology, a traditionally auspicious period often connected with purposeful action and important beginnings. So, if you have been waiting to send an important message, discuss a difficult issue at work, review a contract, make a financial decision, or finally resolve something that has been stuck for weeks, this is a period worth paying attention to. But there is an important warning. Not every opportunity that appears during a powerful astrological window should be accepted immediately. Sometimes the biggest mistake is not missing an opportunity. It is saying yes before you have understood what that opportunity actually means. Mercury represents communication, thinking, information, agreements, negotiations, and the way we process decisions in astrology. The Sun, meanwhile, is traditionally associated with identity, confidence, authority, purpose, and visibility. When these two planets come together, astrologers often interpret the period as a moment when hidden information can become clearer and an old mental pattern can be reconsidered. You may suddenly understand why a conversation from the past never reached a conclusion. You may notice that a career decision you were uncertain about now looks completely different. Or you may realize that the financial problem you have been worrying about does not require a dramatic move at all. It requires a smarter one. And this is exactly why the August 26th-27th window deserves attention. The goal is not to chase mysterious signs or make impulsive predictions. The goal is to slow down, observe what is changing, and use the period for clarity. Because while the upcoming lunar eclipse may bring a completely different emotional theme, this Sun-Mercury alignment gives us an opportunity to look at the practical side of life before that intensity arrives. In this video, we're going to explore what this astrological alignment could symbolize for your career, money, communication, important documents, negotiations, and major decisions. And we'll also look at the zodiac signs that may feel this energy most strongly. So stay until the end, because one of the biggest mistakes during a period like this is something that most people don't think about until it is already too late. Now let's look at why this particular alignment could be important. Mercury is traditionally associated with communication, business, contracts, information, planning, and decision-making. The Sun is connected with confidence, visibility, leadership, purpose, and personal direction. When these two planets come together, astrologers often interpret the energy as a period where your thinking becomes more focused and certain things that were previously unclear can start making more sense. This is why the next 24 hours could be especially interesting for anyone dealing with an important decision. Maybe you've been waiting for a response about a job. Maybe you're negotiating a payment. Maybe there's a business conversation that has been delayed. Or perhaps you've been thinking about making a change but haven't been completely sure whether it's the right time. Instead of forcing an answer, use this period to get more information. Read the contract again, check the numbers, ask the question you've been avoiding, and listen carefully when someone gives you new information. Sometimes the opportunity isn't a brand new event. Sometimes it's finally seeing an existing situation clearly. This is also where Ravi Yoga becomes part of the discussion. In Vedic astrology, Ravi Yoga is traditionally considered an auspicious combination associated with purposeful action and favorable circumstances for certain activities. It doesn't mean that everything you do during this period will automatically succeed. Rather, it can be viewed as a reminder to act with intention instead of hesitation. If there is something important you've been postponing, organize it. If you need to have a professional conversation, prepare for it. If your finances need attention, look at them honestly. And if an important document has been sitting unfinished, don't keep ignoring it. But there is one important rule. Don't confuse confidence with certainty. You can feel confident about a decision and still be missing an important detail. So before signing, investing, purchasing, lending, or making a major commitment, make sure you understand what you're actually agreeing to. The energy of this period is best used for one simple purpose: clear your mind, gather the facts, and then make your move. Because sometimes the biggest breakthrough doesn't come from taking a bigger risk. It comes from finally seeing the situation clearly.
Now let's talk about the area where this alignment could feel especially practical: your career and finances. If you have been waiting for a response from an employer, preparing for an interview, discussing your promotion, or thinking about changing your professional direction, pay close attention to the information coming to you around August 26th and 27th. A small conversation could reveal something important. Someone may finally give you an answer you have been waiting for, or you may suddenly see a better solution to a problem that has been frustrating you. But don't rush. Before accepting a new offer or making a major career decision, check the details carefully. The same applies to money. This can be a useful period to review your budget, unpaid bills, contracts, subscriptions, or financial plans. You don't necessarily need to make a huge financial move. Sometimes the most powerful financial decision is simply recognizing where your money has been disappearing and taking control of it. If an opportunity looks unusually attractive, ask questions before committing. And if something doesn't make sense, don't be afraid to wait. The message of this period is simple. Think clearly, communicate carefully, check the details, then act with confidence. And for some zodiac signs, this energy may feel particularly noticeable. Now let's look at the 5 zodiac signs that may feel this period more strongly. Virgo comes first. For Virgo, Mercury's influence can bring greater focus toward work, planning, and important conversations. If you've been overthinking a career decision, this could be a time to organize your thoughts and finally decide what actually matters. Leo may experience this energy through confidence and visibility. A conversation with a senior person, employer, or important contact could become significant. Just make sure rushing doesn't turn into confidence. Gemini may notice changes through communication. Messages, calls, or information that were previously unclear could suddenly make more sense. Read everything carefully before responding. Sagittarius may need to pay closer attention to career direction and long-term plans. Something that seemed like a setback could reveal another opportunity if you are willing to look at it differently. And finally, Aries. For Aries, the biggest lesson may be patience. You may feel ready to act immediately, but taking a little extra time to check the facts could prevent an unnecessary mistake. These 5 signs don't need to fear this alignment. Instead, the message is to use the period intelligently. Think before reacting, verify before agreeing, and act only when you understand the situation clearly. As August 26th moves into August 27th, the focus should be on one thing: clarity before action. If you have an important email to send, a document to review, a negotiation to continue, or a career decision you've been postponing, use this window to prepare properly. Don't send something important while you're angry or emotional. Don't sign something you haven't read. And don't make a financial decision simply because someone tells you that you have to act immediately.
Instead, slow down and look at the complete picture. This is also a good time to organize your plans. Write down your priorities. Separate what is urgent from what is actually important. Look at where your time and money are going. And if you've been carrying an unresolved conversation in your mind, consider whether a calm and honest discussion could finally bring some clarity. The most valuable opportunity during this period may not arrive as money or a new job. It could arrive as information. One phone call, one message, one conversation, one piece of information that changes the way you see an old situation. And once you have that clarity, your next step becomes much easier. That is the real message behind this 24-hour window. Don't rush toward the opportunity. First, understand it. Then decide whether it is truly meant for you.
But there is another side to this 24-hour window that you need to understand. Knowing what to avoid can be just as important as knowing what to do. First, don't rush into a major decision simply because you feel pressured. If someone tells you, decide right now or you'll lose the opportunity, take a step back and look at the complete situation before responding. Second, be extremely careful with contracts, agreements, and important documents. Whether it's related to a job, business, payment, or financial commitment, read the details carefully before accepting anything. Third, avoid emotional messages or emails. A sentence written in anger can create a problem that takes weeks to fix. If an important conversation is necessary, slow down, think about your words, and communicate with a clear mind. And fourth, don't treat every small coincidence as a guaranteed cosmic sign. Astrology can be used as a tool for reflection and guidance, but real-life decisions should still be based on facts, circumstances, and careful judgment. So the message of August 26th-27th is actually very simple. Get the information, think it through, then make your move. And as we move beyond this alignment, there are a few important changes you should pay attention to, especially if you belong to one of the 5 zodiac signs we discussed.
As this alignment approaches, you may notice certain changes that seem small at first, but become more meaningful when you look at the bigger picture. You might suddenly receive a message you've been waiting for. A delayed conversation could finally move forward. An old misunderstanding may become easier to explain. Or you may simply wake up one morning and realize that a decision you've been struggling with is no longer as confusing as it was before. These moments don't have to be dramatic. Sometimes clarity arrives quietly. Pay attention to what repeatedly comes back into your attention, especially when it involves your career, finances, communication, or an unfinished responsibility. But remember, noticing something doesn't mean you have to act immediately. Take the information, evaluate it, and then decide. For the 5 signs we discussed, Virgo, Leo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aries, this can be a particularly useful period to become more intentional about the choices they are making. The biggest opportunity may not be something that suddenly appears. It may be the ability to finally see an existing opportunity more clearly. And that is why the next 24 hours should be approached with awareness, not fear. Because sometimes the breakthrough you've been waiting for begins with something as simple as finally understanding what your next step should be.
So as August 27th approaches, remember that this period is not about predicting exactly what will happen to you. It is about becoming more aware of the decisions you are already making. If an important opportunity appears, look at it carefully. If a conversation needs to happen, approach it calmly. If your finances need attention, don't keep postponing them. And if something has been confusing you for a long time, give yourself permission to step back and look at it from a different perspective. The Sun-Mercury conjunction is traditionally associated with themes of thought, communication, clarity, and direction.
while Ravi Yoga is regarded in Vedic astrology as an auspicious period for purposeful action. But the real value comes from how you use that moment. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase every opportunity, and you certainly don't need to make a decision out of fear. Sometimes the smartest move is simply to gather the information you were missing. Then, when the picture becomes clearer, act with confidence. For Virgo, Leo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aries, this period may be especially useful for reviewing career plans, communication, finances, and important decisions. And for everyone else, the same principle still applies. Pause, understand, then act. Because the opportunity coming your way may not look dramatic at first. It could be a message, a conversation, a piece of information, a new idea, or simply the realization that you are finally ready to make a decision you've been avoiding. The next 24 hours are not about predicting your future. They are about becoming clearer about your next move. So before August 27th arrives, ask yourself one simple question. What decision in my life needs more clarity before I take the next step? That answer may be more important than you realize.